think it's going.
So are we live?
It says meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. So.
Okay, that's awesome. Hey everyone, how's everybody doing this morning? Welcome to our Saturday morning coffee chat. Robert Thompson here with the Robert and Christy Real Estate team. And today we're gonna have a little bit of a Q&A for first-time homebuyers who has politely joined us. And I thank you so much for joining us, is Tara. She's
Good morning.
Hi. And she's joining us for our first time home buyer just questionnaire. She had some questions and we thought this would be a good opportunity to just share, because I'm sure that the questions you're going to be asking are the same questions that a lot of people have when they're first buying home. So we'll do our best to answer all your questions. And Tara, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and how you're getting started into looking into buying a home and that whole process started for you.
Okay. Well, married, I have 2 kids, and we've been just checking out homes for a while, but actually during this quarantine thing, I started watching your guys's coffee chats and videos and like, ooh, and I started getting more interested and getting more invested in trying to look for a home. And basically I just need I don't know where to begin. It's confusing. It's a confusing process. So.
Okay. Yeah. That's great. So we're, so you're now because you have sparked the interest of buying a home right now. What are your biggest concerns and or what are your biggest questions that you have for us? By the way, this is Christy.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
I guess the first question would be, what pre-qualifications does a first-time homeowner need before even starting the process?
Okay.
Have my ducks in a row? What do I need?
Okay.
To get things started.
That's awesome. That's actually the number one starting point. That's a good segue. It's perfect. Before anybody goes out and they start, well, obviously you start the process of thinking about buying a home and you start looking, you start browsing online, start going to different websites and things. And then you're like, hey, I really want to buy a home. Well, one of the most important questions that you're going to have is, what's it going to cost me, right? How much money do I have to buy a home? What are the different types of loan programs out there? And the best thing to do is to get what's called pre-approved. And there's a difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval. A pre-qualification is you basically could call somebody up online, call a lender and say, hey, I'm really interested in buying a home. They may ask you a few questions. How much do you make? How much is your debt? Looks like you probably could afford a $450,000 home. And then they'd write you a letter, and that's a pre-qualification. A pre-approval is a lot more in depth, and that's your golden ticket to go shopping, because especially now in these times, in the COVID times, even getting into a property, view a property, a pre-approval is more likely to be required to actually even entering a home. So people just don't want anybody just browsing in, walking into homes. They want to make sure that they're serious buyers. Pre-approval, what you need for that is a lot of information. So what you're going to do is when you contact your lender, they're going to be asking for, let's say, the last 2 years of W-2s, some pay statements, your tax returns and things like that. And they're going to dig in deep. They even may do something called desktop underwriting to put it into their system to be able to give you a solid number that you qualify for. And with that information, they'll tell you approximately how much money you'll need to bring as a down payment and what your payments will roughly be for your total loan approval amount. And then once we have that loan approval amount, let's say it's $450,000, then we start the process of showing you properties in that price range.
Okay. Then that actually leads me to what hidden fees are tied in with, like, you see the value of the home, but what's added on that you have to take account for? Because I didn't even know that until talking to Crystal. She's like, oh, but that's not it. You have to pay for this and that. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
There's more than what it says.
Good question.
It's like when you buy a car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to cover that one?
Sure. So when you buy a home, you have obviously the purchase of the home. So making it easy, it's $400,000. Let's just throw a number out there.
Okay.
And on top of that, you have to pay you're not on top of that, I'm sorry, but your down payment is going to be, let's just say 10%, just because of the easy math.
Yeah.
Okay, so your down percent's $40,000. And then you've got closing costs that you have to add to it. So your closing costs typically run about 2.5% of the purchase price, roughly. And closing costs covers your escrow fees, your title fees, all your junk fees that everybody else that's involved in the transaction, because it's not just you and us and that other the seller and their agent. There's an escrow company, a title company, and all their people. There's a notary, there's a courier. So all these people have to get paid, and those are called escrow fees. So we lump that together as about 2.5%, and that also adds, that 2.5% also includes your lender fees.
Okay.
So your lender has fees for doing the loan. Now we can't go into all those details of that pricing because that's really a lender thing, but that 2.5% encompasses your escrow fees, your title fees, and then your lender fee for purchase. You know, if he gets paid, right? The lender has to get paid.
Yeah.
Outside of that, so let's just say you've got 400,000 plus 2.5%, $8,000, $8,500, something like that. Okay. So now you're buying a house. Now you're spending 408. Okay. I'm just rounding things out. When you are in escrow, now you need to go and have an inspection on the house. You want to, and we would highly encourage that you never buy a home without a home inspection. And that's going to be about $450.
Yeah, depending on the size of the home, it's usually based off of the square footage and the
amenities, maybe like if there's a pool or an outhouse, or which most likely, you know, you won't have an outhouse here, but
anywhere from $375 to $500.
Okay, so that's out of pocket. So the 2.5% that I mentioned is when you are in escrow, when you go to sign your final loan docs, you bring all that money. Okay. The $350 or the $375 to $400 for the home inspection, you're actually paying when you meet the home inspector at the house. So that's out of pocket. Okay. The other fee that you have typically is the credit, your credit report. So a lot of times the lenders will charge you up front for the credit report. That could be $45. They might roll into the loan, they might not. That's a lender thing. And then the last one is your appraisal.
Okay.
So typically you pay for the appraisal on the property that you're buying out of pocket. Okay. So that's about $450.
Yeah, $450
Depends
to
on the
$500.
lender. Okay.
Depends on the lender, again, on the size of the home.
So you want to set aside about $1,000. Let's just say $750 to $1,000 for those two real important things that need to be done.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's very good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said, I think you brought up title insurance.
Correct.
I was taking little notes as you're talking. What is title insurance?
So title insurance. Okay. So when you buy a piece of property, you need to make sure that when you purchase it, it's free and clear of all liens, encumbrances, or any issues with the land itself or the persons who've owned it beforehand. So when we buy a home, we always have a lien on our home for the mortgage. It's the mortgage is attached to the property. That's attached to title.
Okay.
But while you own a home, that owner may have had a child support lien, or maybe somebody fell in the front yard and now there's a lawsuit and there's a lien on the property. Or they did some upgrades in the house and they didn't pay the contractor. Now there's a mechanic's lien. It's important that when you get the property that you get it free and clear. And that's what title does. They make sure that you're receiving the property, or first of all, they're making sure that the property that they're giving you is clear of all these things that is with the responsibility of that previous owner.
Oh boy.
Okay. And then that you get nice and clear title. And additionally, if you're buying in a rural area, they always want to make sure that you are buying the land that is stated on the plot map. I always say that wrong. Plot.
Yeah.
That you're actually buying the land that the plot map says, right? So because your neighbor at one point could have encroached on you, which means they could have taken over part of your fence. Let's just say the fence was down in a 4-foot spot, and they said, "Oh, well, don't worry about it. I'll put a new fence up." What if they moved it over a foot, right? So what we're making sure, they're making sure that you're buying the property the way that the property was recorded previously and in the previous times.
So
Okay.
it's it's insurance, right? So the insurance is a typical insurance is you buy insurance because something that may happen in the future, right?
Exactly. That's
Right. Well, title insurance is almost the opposite of that. It's for things that happened in the past.
okay.
So
Good example.
yeah, so what they want to make sure everything has been taken care of or will be taken care of prior to you getting the home and you owning it, that you'll get free clear and title on the property for anything that happened in the past. Okay.
Again, that's something I would have never thought of before starting this process, thinking about past owners having to cover yourself for that. That wouldn't
Right.
be mine.
No, it's one of those things though that you don't really you read their prelim report. We all read it when we're in escrow, and that way we have an awareness that those things get taken care of. It's not anything that you physically do. Like
a prelim report is a title report. So you're going to read everything about it. That's what you mean by prelim.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh.
But we're not out there having you, you're not going to be measuring, lines and stuff like that. And, we're all helping you with all that stuff.
Yeah. Maybe I'm not as ready as I thought I was. No, just kidding.
You are, because that's what you're for.
Yeah. When you say, hypothetically speaking, if I wanted to get a home in a couple months, when I get a mortgage loan, how long does that last? Like, say, is that one of my first steps? I go in, talk to somebody, get my mortgage loan, see what I'm working with.
Sure.
How long does that loan last for?
Okay, so when the first thing you're going to do is going to get, you're right, the pre-approval, right? So they're going to provide that pre-approval for you, and then you go out and shop for a while. Typically, those pre-approvals last anywhere from 30 to 60 days, because the market is kind of doing this kind of crazy thing right now, where there's a lot of unpredictability of what's happening. I think mainly that's a rate-based concern or a loan program type concern. At the end of March, we had a certain amount of programs that fell off the map that people were qualified for. They had pre-approvals, they're out shopping, and all of a sudden now they say, oh, we don't offer that program anymore. And so you have to scramble to figure out a new type of a loan program. So once you get into the escrow and you're going to lock in your loan rate, you're going to lock in that loan program. The typical loans last anywhere from 15-year or 30-year. By far, the most common is a 30-year loan.
Okay. Trying to think. One of my other questions was PMI, and then because you said something about like uncertain times right now, is it a good time to buy? Like, are there better deals, or is it the same as normal?
Sure, that's a great question. Probably the most common question we get every day. Is the first one is the rate. The rates are phenomenal. I mean, it is amazing time to buy a home right now because of the interest rate. Okay. So if it's something that you and your family need to do, or you feel it's the best time for you, you could be saving yourself a real lot of money because your interest rates are so low. I mean, I heard somebody actually last night is doing a refi on their house and they're getting like a 2.75% interest. I mean, just a few months ago, they were at about 3.75. So that 1% adds up a lot of money on a monthly payment. So right now, from that perspective, is a really good time to buy.
Okay. When
you talk about home prices and things like that, what we've seen is right now it's been pretty steady. I mean, meaning that the prices have held steady throughout. Homes that are in the median to lower price range have definitely held a steady across the board price. They haven't dropped at all. However, homes that are up on the higher end, we have seen, this has actually been going on for a year and a half or so, a couple of years, where we've seen some pricing go down a little bit on that. So we're kind of meeting in the middle type of a deal.
Okay.
But all that said, as far as a good deal, we are still seeing multiple offers on homes. It's interesting, even in now. The serious buyers who are buying really want to buy, and the sellers who want to sell really want to sell. So it's good. It's all around. We think it's a positive market right now to buy.
That's good.
I think the biggest thing to be concerned about if I was buying a home would be interest rates.
Okay.
That's real important, because you got to look at, a lot of people say, well, I want to wait till the market, I get a good deal on a house. What's a good deal?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, what does a good deal really mean? What are your long-term goals? What are your short-term goals? If you're buying a house to get a good deal and you want to do a flip or something, or not a flip, but only stay for a couple of years and hope in the market and play that game, then yeah, you may want to, I don't know, who knows when the bottom is. You don't know we've hit the bottom of the market until we've already passed it and it's already going up. So there's no way to predict that.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for your family and your home, a home for you and your family to stay in for a period of time. Right now we're seeing, it used to be like around 7 years. Now we're seeing it's 7 to 15 or 10 to 15 years that people are staying in their homes now. So even that alone has changed. So if you're looking at, just a place for you and your family to be, to me, I would buy, with the interest rate. So
Because that's your long-term.
it's your long term, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can refinance, but every time you go to refinance, it costs. And right now, we don't know what the rates where they are right now. How are they going to get lower than where they're at? I mean, we've been saying this for a couple of years, but they're just phenomenal.
That's great.
And a friend of ours he's got like a 3.5%. He's just now refinancing to a 2.75. So it's like, you'll never get that money. It's nearly free.
Yeah.
So to buy in this market, your purchase power is so much greater, or your payment is lower, whichever you prefer. I mean, you can stay in the same price point, get the lower interest rate and be really comfortable, or you could buy higher and a little bit bigger and keep a little bit higher payment. It just depends on what you're looking for in your family style.
Yeah. I think we're at the point where we love where we live, but throwing away that money on rent every month, I'm starting to recognize, I'm like, oh, that could be going towards something. We could be investing in our future, not just throwing away on rent. So I think I'm looking for our starter home somewhere we would be for the next 7 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? Would be ideal. So
right. And this is the time to be doing that. And I think that this type of an environment, what we're doing right now is kind of what we do in a buyer's consultation. And I know that I've been reading the online Facebook comments right now, and Lynn mentioned that when she bought a home, that nobody explained this to her. And no one explained it to us, I'll be honest with you, when we bought our home either. And that's why that buyer consultation that we provide is so important, to go over details like we're talking right now, and connecting the lender and the lender piece along with the agent piece to help facilitate and make sure that everybody's eyes are open for this. The thing that we don't want to do is ever put anybody into a home that it's not right for them, or the timing's not right for them. We're the first one to back out. We'll tell our clients, let's back out. This home's not for you, or something happened in your family. It's not the time, because we're homeowners too.
Yeah.
We bought, and I don't think we thought we were going to be here 23 years, and now we're here 23 years, right?
Yeah.
And you just have, all the dots have to connect, and everything has to be right. But we can tell you right now that the market is really favorable right now for buyers, and that interest rate is a big component of it.
Yeah.
I know. I'm getting excited. I'm so grateful that you guys are doing this, because already just talking to you for 20 minutes or something, I feel more informed and what I need to know, like the hidden fees. I had no idea there were so many layers to it.
Yeah.
That needed to be paid. Like, I need to prepare for that now to, put a little bit more money away. And I'm excited. I'm grateful.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, like Christy mentioned, I'm sorry. Like Christy had mentioned that, we walk through this whole process with you as you go along. So there's always questions that come up. There's always going to be questions. And so that's what we do on our team, is we're there for you the entire process to help facilitate, answer those questions, keep you moving forward. If everything's looking like you want to buy a home and it's what you're looking for.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I know where I'm going when I am ready.
There you go. Yeah. Just always, we can connect anytime, but that lender piece is a big piece of it, because you want to make sure that there's nothing hiding in your credit that needs to be corrected. And sometimes you need time to correct it. So as you get closer and you're kind of building up your monies and you think you're kind of getting ready within like a few months, I would definitely contact a lender. We have those references for you if you want, and make sure that there's nothing that you need to do before you're ready. You might have to pay off something. You might have to build up your credit score, just 3 more points just to get that better interest rate. And then they're going to tell you how to do that. But if you're ready today and you're going, I got to buy in a month, but then you look at everything and you've got a couple of things that need to be fixed. Now you got to either decide to go forward with this, with whatever that means for you and financially, or you have to stop and fix it. So I would connect with the lender as you start to get that savings built up and you're ready to go. And then we can kind of go from there.
Perfect. Can you put the contact for the lender maybe in the Facebook so we could get, because I'm excited. I'm ready to start a process.
Okay. Yeah, we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have a few options. So each person does things a little bit differently. So we have a few different options for people depending on their needs and wants. And so what we'd rather kind of dig a little bit deeper with you to find out exactly, because we have one person that does things a certain way, another person that does another thing. We kind of try to match up that personality, style, and type, and what's most important for that person with the appropriate lender. So we'll definitely get that information to you.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, you did have I think you mentioned PMI, correct?
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah, so the yeah, so it's a great question because a lot of people don't really understand what that is, and it's really your lender that's going to be able to help direct you in that. But PMI stands for primary mortgage insurance. Typically, a lender needs to see about 20% down payment on a house. You know, so that's a significant amount of money that somebody's got to come out of their bank account to put down. Not everybody has that. So there's different types of loan programs where you can have what's called a conventional loan. That's either 5% down, 10% down, 15% down. Or you can have an FHA loan that's 3.5% down. Anything that's under 20% is going to require an additional insurance piece on that. And that's definitely a fee, a monthly fee that can be costly. Yeah. So it's like anywhere from 0.5% up to 1%. I'm very rarely 1%. It's usually like 8 or 0.8 or whatever. It's anywhere between 0.5% and 1% typically. But that's what the lender will provide for you and all that information. But you're talking a few $100s on a loan, depending on how much money you're bringing in and stuff like that. So it's something that you really want to know. And then not every lender offers that same PMI rate. So when you're talking with the lender, it's a good question to ask them, hey, what's my PMI rate? Because not every lender has the same PMI rate. So really important to get all those finite details when you speak with your lender. And we'll help you we'll coach you through all that.
Now, if you came in with 20% down, then the PMI is not a factor. But coming in with 20% down is tough as a first-time home buyer. So you automatically, most likely, you're going to be an FHA loan, and that one's going to carry the PMI. And you can refinance out of it at one point in time once you have enough equity. But then again, if you have a really low interest rate, you're going to want to, refinance out down the road. So there's a lot of factors in there, but I think it's important as new buyer just to take baby steps. So, we start off with the lender, then we get all that pre-approval, then we go shop for homes, and then we discuss that step of like what the value of this home and if this is the home for you, and then get you in there at the price that works for you financially. That's key. You never want to, it's really easy to overbuy because you see something that really just triggers a fancy, and you're like,
I'm familiar with that. I get over eager. I'm like, oh, I want that one.
Right. And that's where Robert and I and our team do our best to keep you. That's when we have that consultation and we have this discussion on what your needs and wants are. We really hold you as tight as we can to that, unless there's some circumstance that called for change. Because we remember when we sat down with you, this is what you said, and this is why it was important. So if you said that my max is 400, we're not showing you $500,000 houses. We're probably not even showing you 425 unless we see something creative in there. Because all it is pushing you outside of your comfort zone that you already explained to us.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, and then
Because I do tend to, like, when I'm looking up houses online, I do tend to keep going outside of the box. I'm like, "Ugh."
we all
And
do.
like I said, just this conversation, knowing all the hidden fees, that brings me down a
Yeah.
little bit. Like, okay, yeah, that's
Yeah,
doable
Right.
at all.
that's good. I'm glad that helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had one of our first coffee chats was with Adriel Esparza, and it was a really good one. So if you want to go back into our Facebook page, and it was back in April, I think. Yeah.
Sure, it was about a month ago.
Yeah. It was back in April, and he was one of our first coffee chats, and it was regarding lending. So there's some really helpful information from him on that coffee chat. If you want to kind of go back on a Facebook account and look on that. It was really very helpful. One of the things I like about the way he does it is that he always provides multiple options. So he'll say, here's your option 1, option 2, and option 3. Here's the short-term benefits and the long-term benefits. Here's the pros and cons of each program. So you can kind of look and, talk to each other about, hey, if I'm planning on selling in 3 years, I may want to go with this. Versus I plan on staying in there about 10 years and you probably want to go with this. So that's something that's a good discussion. And I love the fact that he goes through all those options with each one of our clients on that. So, but you may want to kind of go back on that and kind of take a look at that situation, that piece. Yeah.
I will definitely. Like I said, this has become one of my quarantine hobbies, is watching all your guys'
Awesome.
lives.
We see you on, and I appreciate you supporting us and our team. And I'm really glad that we had the opportunity today to talk to you. And I really think it helped a lot of people. If not now, because they're not on, but they will see it at another time. And I think that it's a helpful topic. So thank you.
And thank you. You can tell you guys really care, like, and that's what I need in a real estate team, right? Like, keeping me here, not going for the houses up there, and like, you're not going to push me into a house that won't work for me or my family or make me uncomfortable. And so, like I said, I'm grateful for the time that you guys took this morning to talk with me, and I look forward in the future to actually getting a home. But in the meantime, I'll watch your old Facebook lives. And
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Is there any other questions, Christy?
No. Most of them, I think we're just talking just in general about, they didn't have experiences like that. That was very helpful.
Okay.
The buyer's remorse was a comment that Lynn made, that a lot of buyers do have buyer's remorse because they are pushed into, or they feel like they have to make a decision quickly. Of course, there's timelines. You got to make decisions, be proactive in making those. But, you never want to rush into a home to buy because you think there's no other home to buy. That's not
exactly. Yeah, that's one of my fears, is being scared you're not going to find something better, or, just the first house I see, yes, I want this one, boom. I don't want to get into a situation and not be comfortable, buyer's remorse, and not like I want to love the place that I'm going to call home for the next 7 to 10 plus years.
Right. So that's important. And of course, shopping your areas while you're in quarantine or not, or whenever we're in, where you're not ready to buy right now, it might be important just to identify the areas that you like to live in.
Right.
Because that way it will make that search for you that much better. You'll already know the area, you already know the school, you can drive by all different times of the day. We really recommend that.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
You want to drive by mornings, weekends, nights, Saturdays, afternoons, see what's going on in the neighborhood. So you have time to do all that now. So you might want to start scoping out your neighborhoods and making a list of that. And then when we're ready, we can actually really zone in on those neighborhoods.
I'll do that. That's just another thing I didn't think about.
Okay.
Right.
Going different times of days. Yeah. Traffic wise, the school district, very important to me. I have 2 kids, so I want to make sure that I find a school district that is.
I will point out one tip, and then we can let you go though on that drive by. Right now, it's getting a little bit better, but I have had comments of people during quarantine. They've asked me things like, is this neighborhood always so many cars on the street? And the answer is no. But during quarantine, everybody's home. All their kids are home, college, grandma, grandpa, whatever, everybody's home. So it's not typical. So just be aware of that when you're starting to look. I think it's lightening up. I'm not seeing so much on other streets, But
Good point.
yeah, it's just kind of an interesting thing. But yeah, that's something that you can do in the meantime.
I'll keep that in mind for
Work
sure.
on credit and not your credit itself, but the finance piece of it, just to make sure we're all in line. All right.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it a lot. And like I said, I feel a lot more informed now than before I started this half hour ago or whenever we started.
Yes,
Okay.
you did a good job. You've been on 32 minutes.
Yeah, when you go out and start searching for homes, you can go to our website, which is robertandchristy.com, and we have a kind of a newer website now, and you can from there set up appointments and things like that if there's a home that's of interest. So we encourage anybody out there to go out to robertandchristy.com and then start their home search there, and then you can, if you see a home, you can make an appointment and we can make arrangements to show it to you.
Right, but we do want to also encourage anybody else listening outside of Tara that if you are interested in buying, we want to be able to sit down and do a consultation with you. We can do it
really
via
important.
Zoom. We don't have to be in front. That's one thing that has come out of this whole COVID thing is that piece of it. I mean, it's nice to be able to get in front of people in person, but we don't have to. We can do it through Zoom. We can share screens. We can show you our presentation booklet, but reach out to us so we can spend that time with you and do that consultation. It's really important.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We appreciate it. Thank you, Tara.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Memorial Weekend.
Yes.
Happy weekend.
Enjoy. And then thank you. We'll be in touch.
All right. Sounds good. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.